Welcome to the Tearing It Up podcast. I'm your host, Taryn. We'll be tearing it up, tearing it down, and tearing it apart, dissecting all things related to those who deviate from the standard. From leaders of their industry to leaders of mediocrity, and maybe a gear review or two thrown in. We shoot the shit and let the conversations flow, so if that's not your style, this may not be for you. Otherwise, listen in. Hope to light a fire in you somehow.
There we go. Okay, I still really want the lady to say recording in progress.
Yes, same.
Oh, I thought that was it for a second. For real.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So I might have to put myself on mute every once in a while for a cough or a nose blow. Suddenly just woke up with a stuffiness, which sucks. But I'm also a little surprised, honestly, that it has taken this long, that we're about a month into wrestling, and we've had a couple tournaments and, just snotty, sickly, gross kids being around
Sweaty
all the time, that it's, taking, because like with wrestling, you're not getting away. Like if you're practicing or showing a move, you're like personal bubble, close contact. So on Saturday, one of the kids actually said we had a JV tournament, and a varsity tournament. So we split the team. Head coach went with varsity to Winnemucca, Nevada, a few hours away. And then we were just down in Reno with the JV team. And this kid, he had a tough first match. He went out there kind of strong, but then just lost it all. Like you could tell he hit the gas, and then the air went out real quick. He was like, God, yeah, I've just, been feeling sick for a couple weeks. Like I'm just having a hard time, breathing and stuff. And I was like, a couple weeks? God damn it. Like, what? You've been here the whole time.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like I do that too, where I'm like, no, this isn't happening.
Totally. And he wasn't like, coughing and snot and all this stuff throughout the week. So you really wouldn't have noticed. It was just an energy thing and respiratory. But then sure as shit. So this tournament we were at, it was in a tiny gym. There was like 25 teams. It was just wall to wall. And me and the other coach there, like he made a comment like, yeah, we're not getting out of this one alive. Like he's like, I just told my wife, I'm sure I'm getting sick from here. And then of course, yesterday I started to feel like a little bit of pressure, sinusy pressure, and head stuffiness coming on. And now it feels less in my head, more just in my nose and a little scratchy throat. I'm hoping that I feel like I've been doing pretty well as far as movement and nutrition and things. So really hoping that all those things help out, and this kind of can be the max of it. Just a little stuffiness.
Fingers crossed.
Got some stuff going on too the rest of the week, so I won't be at practice, and then I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it to their tournament this Saturday or not. It's a crapshoot. It's about 3 hours west, so I really want to go because it's a California tournament. So we're in California, but we wrestle mostly Nevada, like besides the one other school, South Lake Tahoe, and everything else is Nevada. That's our league, that's our district. So by going to these California tournaments, you just see people and teams you'll never see again, and a different style of wrestling. California is a very tough state for wrestling. So it'll be cool to see some matches and good wrestling and get these kids that exposure, because we're still so young, so many first year wrestlers and whatnot. So yeah, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do there, because they're actually leaving Friday for it, and I could get on the bus, but I'm like, at this point, like, probably don't want to do that. Like, want my space. And just got some other things. But anyways, a little bit stuffy, a little bit scratchy, and 'tis the season.
'Tis the freaking season, dude. Hopefully this is, like you said, and it can be one of those colds where you're like, I'm an adult, you gotta power through.
Yep, exactly. It's the glory of being able to work from home, but like I said, I've got a couple events this week, so that I need to be at. Need is a strong word. It's preferred for sure, especially for, photos and things like that. And for tonight's event, it's our last avalanche education event, and I love this event. This is like my favorite event of the year, this particular one, because everybody gets to blow off if you have an airbag, you can bring it and blow it off, and we'll do free canister refills on site. So too bad when you're listening to this that the event will have happened. But it's just, I don't know, they're fun. I like the avalanche education events, and yeah, but I don't want to be, getting other people sick either. So we'll see how the day goes, and I'll be in touch with the boss man. But I mean, you know how it goes. You got a kid in school, and that's all I ever hear about school age kids is just every other week it feels like there's a sniffle or something going on. Do you get it yourself a lot, just Quincy?
Oh yeah. If Quincy gets it, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, he's still sleeping in my bed. 8-year-old child does, but that's also situational right now. But
right, exactly.
Yeah, no, definitely. And luckily this year we've only caught one cold and have been very lucky. The first year after COVID, which he would have been in kindergarten, we just got rocked. Like we were out of school weeks at a time.
Jeez. Well, a lot of people at that time, I feel like you said after, like when you went back to school.
Yeah. And like even though people, it was actually, okay, so the first year we masked, the following year, and I think that was just everybody across the world just getting our immune systems back and reintroducing each other's cooties. I like so many of my friends from Quincy's school, we were all just like literally out of school for weeks at a time.
Gosh, that's crazy.
No
we had a tough time for sure with that and wrestling, and people were out all the time sick. Every week at least one kid was gone, and we had a small team anyways, but yeah, it's tough out there.
It is tough. So stay healthy, stay well, get your vitamin C in.
Yeah, kids. I mean, that it's interesting. It's like in the summer, we want to stay. I feel like it's on the forefront of our mind, being active and feeding our body better, because we want to be outside doing all the things. So we're constantly moving anyways, or we want to be in shape to go biking or hiking. And we're thinking more about fueling our bodies for these activities. And then in the winter, we start to hibernate in and we think less about it because it's dark, it's cold. So it's just not as appealing to go work out, even when you're working out inside, because it's still colder in the mornings or dark. So it's hard to get up out of bed, or hard to want to do it after work because it feels like it's instantly midnight once the clock strikes 5. And then you want these warmer, cozier foods that are not necessarily the quick energy giving foods all the time. So you just you just kind of get that heavy feeling, but it is just as important, if not more, to think about it so that you are fighting these things off. But that also, it's interesting that cold and flu season is that there is a season really for it, which is now they say, but because I think it's really been disproven that it's like you're just because you go outside and get cold that you're gonna get a cold. Remember that you see like, oh yeah, you're gonna get a cold, like go dress warm. But I mean, you'd get a sniffly nose because you're cold, your nose runs and stuff. But it's not just because the cold weather itself.
No.
But
that's an interesting concept,
right? Hard to believe it's the middle of December around here. One, as we always say, time just flies. It goes so fast. And I got a little bit sad yesterday because I'm like, man, it's halfway through December. Like Christmas is 12 days, 11 days out, Christmas Eve, whatever. I'm like, that's not long. That's just a little bit over a week. And I feel like haven't been in the festive mood. Like, where's the Christmas lights, the Christmas music? Because I do work from home. And here we have a very thin layer of snow. I mean, last year we didn't have an astronomical amount. We had a good layer, a good snowpack going. We had a couple solid feet out here. We weren't seeing dirt, that's for sure. And so now I'm not feeling like, compared to last year, that it's like full winter
Y'all got shook last
I'm
year.
behind. Yeah. And hopefully it comes, and there's still plenty of time for it to come. It's just me thinking about like Christmas and wanting to see no rocks and no dirt and a full white Christmas, but there might be something coming just in time for Christmas.
Yeah, hopefully that'll come in time.
Exactly.
I've got high hopes.
But
I've got faith.
I'm just not prepared whatsoever with any kind of gifts, and I have plenty of ideas from our gift guide episode, that's for sure. But thinking about, again, if I have to order stuff or ship stuff, I'm like, oh my God, like I think I've missed the window, because obviously people get, the mail gets so backed up that you need to do it a few weeks in advance to really get it there, or you're paying an arm and a leg. But anyway, I'm like, God damn it. How did this happen? How has it become this time already?
Dude, every year. That happens every year.
Like I said, it's a vortex. Like the world is definitely spinning faster. It has to be.
Yeah, 100%, man. Maybe we're actually in a black hole.
Yeah, for real. But so we've got a little bit of time, a couple more weeks till 3 weeks until the new year, I guess then.
Wow. I think you're correct, ma'am.
Yeah, because it's the 13th, so just under 3 weeks.
What a year it has been.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just been the motto for the last 3 years. Like, what happened? But so we wanted to talk a little bit about some intentions. If you've been listening a while, you know that Amber and I don't set resolutions, but we'll set some goals or intentions. And we do think there's a difference in those things between a resolution. And it's just the way we like to think about them. And I liked the way that Amber explained it before we started recording. She talked about it with intentions and what you said about them versus resolutions.
Yeah, it's more of maybe it's placebo, but the mindset, I feel like resolutions just seem so heavy, but if you call them intentions, it sets a different intent to it. You know what I mean? Like you intend to do good. And if you don't succeed, or like, you're all like, oh, resolutions in the beginning of the year, and then it just pitter patters away. I feel like if you are more intentional about it and call it intentions, and also hold on to these goals throughout the year, then they can come to fruition. And one of my intentions for this coming year is to focus on my financials, as far as like setting goals and actually getting that Roth IRA that I've been talking years about needing to get, and actually getting the high yield savings account that everybody needs. And
I know. I still haven't done that either.
See, exactly. And it's like, if you turn your resolutions into intentions, hopefully they will come to fruition, like I said, but also like, and set deadlines. You know what I mean? Like you have a plan and there's no end to it, then you'll sit on it for a while, because a lot of the time that we want to do is hard and scary. And if you don't like give yourself a hard cutoff date, then you'll just be like, I guess I just won't do that thing that I want to do that I said I was going to do. So
yeah, like we did a whole episode on goals a while back, and the acronym for setting goals is SMART. And in that is a timeline, because if you don't set a timeline, there's no kind of urge to get it done, and they just kind of float away, float on. So setting a timeline for a goal does make it a little bit easier to attain. Because it means you're going to put effort towards it. And if it's just way off, and there's some goals, big goals that are way off in the future, that don't really need a timeline. Like someday I'll be, I don't know,
traveling Europe, but you're working this.
Yeah, but maybe there's a few goals before that you need to reach, like being financially stable. So that's your first stepping stone. And so for that's when you're getting more focused on that goal and setting the timeline and fitting it into your life. And with what you said about intentions, I think that by setting intentions instead of a straight resolution, that you may not reach is that with your intention, if you're intending and you're working towards that, and you can see the good in that, right? Like you're still putting effort towards it. It's not just checked it off or not.
Yeah.
I got a little bit better towards it. I worked towards it. I got a little bit closer, or I realized, that something might need to change here or there. But however you need to think about it, if you want to set it as a hard resolution, a hard goal, intentions, and you can have all of them too. You can have intentions to just be better at a fitness routine. Like I intend to get more activity in this year rather than a goal of I'm going to work out 3 times a week. Because again, it has to work into your life and how realistic that is. So I'd say kind of look at things that way. What could be a goal or a resolution versus an intention, and set all of them if that's...
Yeah. Also, I just looked up the definition of a resolution and an intention. Definition of a resolution is a firm decision to do or not do something. And then an intention is a thing intended, an aim or a plan. And I feel like those 2 words are totally different things. And even just like your
one's a hard...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
one feels like a hard and fast, and the other one
is like a plan. And you set you're good.
Yeah.
Set your goals and like plan it out, man. Like that's part of it. That is part of it.
Well, I think that your financial one is a great one. And like by setting these certain kind of deadlines of when you want to do this or that. And the funny thing is about IRAs or high yield. I feel like with high yield savings accounts, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is Google it, because I've listened to a lot of financial podcasts, and we had Tanya, the money life coach, on. And for a high yield savings account, like if you literally Google best high yield savings account, you'll get a list of kind of what's out there and what shows you who's got the best percentage or whatever. And it's pretty easy to just like call that bank and start setting up an account for that savings account. A Roth IRA, you might have to do a little bit more research in, but same kind of thing is if you're going to those top financial institutions, then you're probably going to find a good account to start there. And you just have to figure out how much money you can take out of you got a budget first, I think, for that. So you know how much money you can take out of your account and make sure you're covering all your bills and everything. And you can always change that amount. You can add more later, but if you need to start with just $50 every paycheck or something out of it, I think that's what I did.
Yeah.
50 or 100. I can't remember. Not a large amount, because like I literally need every dollar off my paycheck to go towards my living. That's how I think.
Yep.
I'm in that state, but it's like, well, if I just take that out, I'll figure it out. I'll get by, because I know at least it's going for something good. It's making me money in the end, so it's going to be worth it.
Yes.
To not spend $50 over here, because I know literally not every single dollar and penny is accounted for, but a lot of them are. There's a little bit of extra spending there, so I just have to make the choice consciously of, like pay more attention to things I'm buying, and once that money's not in my account anyways, it's already to that IRA out of the paycheck. It's like I don't have it, so it's fine. Like I'm not like, oh, sure wish I had that $50 that went into my IRA instead.
Yeah.
Like I'm not thinking that at all. I'm not even noticing that it's gone. And like I said, it's going somewhere much better, building me more money in the end. So it's very worth it. And same with the high yield savings account. I think for me, what's harder with the high yield savings account is you can pull that money out easier than you can like an IRA. So it's like harder for me to like put it aside and forget about that.
Yes.
But
that's a very good point.
Yeah.
But either way, both of those things are, your money is sitting and they're both making money for you. It's an investment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an investment either way.
So yeah, like you said, you wanted to have deadlines on those. So
Yeah.
set a deadline, look at your calendar.
Yes.
Like, oh, I don't work Wednesday on January, whatever. I'm going to make those phone calls or,
I'll probably
Google this or that or go down to the bank.
I'll probably do the Roth thing around income tax time when we get them returns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure how a Roth IRA works out, but I'm hoping I'll have a large chunk enough to be able to just put the max in for this year, get my ass going, and then for the following year, maybe do it in a time increments. Cause I mean, like every year is different, every year is so different.
Yeah, that's good. I know a podcast I listened to, again, this girl did that. She was like, I'm just going to put the max in. I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way to do it too, if you can, just to get it going.
Get my credit card paid off. And then also another goal intention for this year is to set a travel plan. Because like last year was so chaotic, I wasn't able to do a whole lot because there was just so much change happening.
Yeah. With the Roth IRA, so another lady I listen to a lot, I haven't read her book yet that I bought months ago, but it's my microphone stand.
Nice.
Tori Dunlap, the financial feminist. She's got some good podcast episodes because it's not all strictly like money finances all the time. She talks with other women about business and stuff like that. But I just saw on her Instagram, she replied to a comment or question, and the question was like, explain a Roth IRA to me like I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And so she explains it. So I think that's a good one too. If you're trying to figure out the differences between a Roth IRA and a regular IRA, is she's got some really basic things like that to define them. So she's a good person to follow.
Cool.
As well, to figure out some of this stuff. And yeah, because it's overwhelming. And I think that's why we don't do a lot of things, whether it's financially related or anything, is the thought of it all seems overwhelming because there's going to be more than one step. And you're like, I have to research this and read that. And also, we just know that as a whole, we don't like to read a lot anymore.
Yeah.
Just give me the answers.
Or do the thing where we're like, let's just try it and see how it works out for me. And then additionally, why the fuck isn't this a class in high school? Why isn't finance a fucking class in high school? It's absolutely absurd. And maybe it's because America doesn't know how to manage their finances, and usually
they want us in debt.
Yes. And it's like either you're really good with your money and like, or you have parents who do finance stuff, or cousins or aunts or uncles, like someone in your family is a part of that world. But like, if you're not a part of that world, then you're just like, I don't have any money. I'm a baby. I could pay you in blocks. What the fuck, man? It's just something that should be common knowledge that just truly isn't.
Speaking of that, before we got on air and we were chatting a little bit, and you mentioned the travel thing, I brought up maybe because it's between you and Quincy. Quincy wants to go somewhere, right? Trying to decide on that place that you're going to go, and creating a little jar, and weekly Quincy's putting, $1, whatever, into his jar too, teaching him saving habits, because those are little things like that you learn as a kid can go in, because as an adult, then that means you have this repetition in your mind of every week I'm going to put, or every paycheck, I put this amount in my savings account, right? Like I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I had the concept later on, but it never stayed there because I just never found worth in it staying there. I was like, oh no, I need it now.
Yep.
So teaching that value young could be really great. And that's one thing, again, that the financial feminist Tori says, or it's a question she asks like every guest she has, is what was your first money memory? And that has a big influence on the rest of your money story, at least until a certain point in that changes or not. And I don't know mine, really. I don't know. It's hard to say. I do remember getting $100 bill at a very young age for Christmas from my grandpa, and I thought that was like the coolest thing, and it was so much money. But it, it went straight to the bank, so I was like bummed because I'm like, well, I just want to like hold it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is so much money. But yeah, I feel like I have a few memories, but I'd have to really dig deep to put some of the dots together. Some things I know, some are, I don't know. But so yeah, that could, that could be part of Quincy's first money memories is, my mom teaching me how to save for a trip we wanted to take. So now that's, by the time he's graduating high school, he has thousands of dollars in savings and he's paying for his own like graduation trip or something, with like no sweat off his back. He's like, don't worry about it. I'm going wherever I want. I don't expect you to pay for it. So that could be really cool to be able to do that, especially because we didn't have that ingrained in us. So to be able to like do that for him would be really cool for you. Yes. And I think also motivation for yourself of like, wow, look at this. We're doing this together.
Yes. Yeah. That is a very good point. And I also, I saw my nephew last night and he was hanging out with some of his buddies, and one of his buddies is just a little hustler. You know what I mean? Like he's off the air. His buddy has been like selling weed since high school and just like it has that hustler mentality. And I was talking to them last night and I was like, sweet Mercedes, bro. I was like, did the hustler life choose you or did you choose it? And he goes, oh, I definitely chose it, because there's just some things that are just like instilled in us or not. You know what I mean? Like, like if you look back at your crew from high school, like there's that fucking guy that was the dealer in high school and now he's like got his own business or whatever. Or like there's the chick who was just like, I'm saving. Like there just are these people who have these things instilled in them, and whether it's from their parents or if it's just like a fucking thing that is in that person. It's just, I'm just trying to like figure that out. I'm like, is it learned or is it just instilled in you as who you are as a person? And if it's
like
not,
nature versus nurture.
Yeah. And if it's not, how do you embrace it? How do you teach yourself that? It's like, it's such a disciplinary thing, and it's very hard to be disciplinary towards yourself.
It is. And I think a lot of it can be just nature. There's people who just have this innate drive and will in them to get what they want, whether that was because their parents did the same thing or maybe their parents didn't and they were like, this is not the life I want for myself. Like I said, it could just be how they're hardwired or a learned habit. But if it is not coming natural to you, then how do you learn it? And I think that really comes to just the want to. So I think for you, and if you're looking at your nephew, right, it's a little bit harder because you want him to be maybe like a certain way, like you want him to have that drive and that hustle that his buddy has. So you're like, why don't you have that? Like how do you get that? But a person has to want to, almost like this. I feel like it's with similar to like a recovery for somebody.
Yeah.
They have to want you, no matter what, you can want this person to be rid of this addiction or something.
Yeah.
And you can help them in any way you can. But until they're ready or want it, like they're not going to go for it. Just like in sports, there's just some kids who work hard and want to compete and want to win. And even if they don't win, they're working hard and they're coming back to the drawing board. And then there's some kids who just show up and they're like, maybe it's a social thing and they just have no desire whatsoever to put effort in. They don't want to push themselves. Something gets hard and they're like, I'm going to take a break. And again, it's just like, who knows, especially with kids, because it's like, okay, is your parent not pushing you to teach you? You have to, like, there's going to be adversity in life and you have to get over it. Like, and some kids don't need their parents pushing them. They just want to. They see an obstacle, they're going to get over it. And a lot of people, I do think these days, and in our society see an obstacle and just stop.
Yeah.
Like, because they want the easy road. And it's really, really frustrating as a person who, rather than stops at those obstacles, but makes more for themselves.
Yeah.
It's like really hard to see some people like, come on, like, keep going. Like, why did you stop? Why aren't you doing this or that? And yeah, it's just their why. Why don't they want to? And it's because too, I think, especially for the younger generation, because they see people getting great success with an easy route.
Yeah.
So they want that too. I mean, you can say, who wouldn't want to like rather have it easier than not? Who wants to go through all the challenges and troubles? Of course, you want to say like, yeah, anyone, right? You want to take the easy route. But when you've taken hard routes, you know that you do learn more lessons that way.
Yes.
So as much as it will pain you to say that you'd rather take the harder road, like, you learn more from it.
Yeah.
And so what kind of human being are you going to be if everything's just easy and handed to you?
Yeah.
And people don't learn that until they take a hard road,
yes.
to get past a challenge.
Because it comes with mental maturity, you know? Like you earn it as you get older. And like, think about us when we were 19, Taryn. What the fuck were we doing? Partying our little titties off and like trying to do community college, you know what I mean? But like with no direction. But
we were working.
Yes.
You know, we were still working. We still had bills to pay. Like, we weren't just sitting on our butts.
Yeah.
We were going to school, working, and doing it.
Yes.
And living like a college kid and partying.
Yeah, like
know?
my main focus was hanging out with friends.
Yeah. But you still showed up to work. You still paid your bills.
Yeah.
Like, especially you were living on your own by then. And so, yeah, I mean, we didn't have a big picture focus, but we still weren't just, twiddling our thumbs and sitting on our ass. So I think there's, a few views for it. But overall, it's just, people have to face adversity and they don't want to. And it's really hard watching teenagers because, again, it is a mental maturity thing. They do have to get to a point. They have to get to something that pushes them, something they want so bad that they will get to it over any obstacle. And just sitting by as an adult being like, okay, like, you'll learn in your own time when it's ready for you. It will all click when it's supposed to. It's just so hard to sit by and watch.
It's so hard. It's so hard. And same with the addiction comparison was beautiful because same with people who have an addiction. Like, it's so hard to let someone you know and love just freaking transform into an addiction zombie. It's really hard.
Yeah. Really hard. But like I said, you just can't. There's a lot of things you can't push people in and they have to figure out themselves. Being a bystander in any of those situations is hard. And even yourself, right? You could have these internal battles where, because I mean, I know I face it, and a lot of these for me always just come back to kind of fitness or working out goals and things where I'm like, all right, I always say I want this, but am I really, really putting in the work? And I feel like something has finally kind of clicked as far as, I don't want to jinx it or anything, because like my nutrition's always been my hardest part. I've got a terrible sweet tooth, and when I'm hungry, I am like,
ravenous.
The fucking, like, just nothing can stop me. So I feel like I have been able to finally take a lot more of a step back and think about things before reacting. I mentioned this recently too, of just that reaction time, taking more time before I react, because I'm very reactive and very impulsive, and that has a play into like my nutrition and how I eat sometimes, is that I'm just like hungry, I'm gonna eat whatever is there, and I can take a step now and say like, okay, hold on, like, I'm at the store to grab something for dinner. I can wait 30 minutes to get home before I like buy this box of cookies and eat the whole thing on the way home.
Yeah.
And then ruin my dinner. So just these little things that took forever to click, of taking the time to think about something before reacting to it, as simple as
what you're
I'm
eating
eating.
for dinner. Yeah.
Because I have the bigger picture goal in my mind of, okay, if I really want to get here, I have to put the work in every fucking day, and it's hard.
It is hard.
But
it's the,
like I said,
it's the
within myself,
intention.
I have to, and within myself, I have to recognize, like, okay, like, until I really, really, really want it, like, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said or thought that I want it, but then I'm like, obviously I didn't hard enough, because I wasn't keeping it at the forefront of my mind until like now.
Yep.
And it's crazy to think that, that it's something that feels like it should have been so easy, and they're just not. So yeah, you can be in your own way for sure, and have these ideas and goals and think that you're working towards them, but then you're like, why am I not getting there? Why am I not getting there? And that's when it's time to reevaluate, of like, maybe because you really aren't keeping it at your forefront and you're not doing everything possible. And I know there are always exceptions to the rule, right? Sometimes there's other things in life that happen that you are doing everything you fucking can to get there, and everything seems to be hitting you and knocking you backwards, but you still just have to keep going forward, and knowing that, like, those things will go, and it's just timing.
Mm-hmm.
And it will happen when it's supposed to happen, as cliche as that is, and no one ever wants to hear it. When the time is right, it will happen. And if it really means enough to you, you just have to keep that in your front view, and keep trudging towards it.
Yep. Got to. Everything happens for a reason. Patience is a virtue. Like, all
those things, yeah,
are so true. And you just don't, like, I'm trying to think of like 19-year-old you and me, and like us having this conversation as a 19-year-old, or talking about our financials, or talking about our goals that I don't even think we fucking had goals at 19. Maybe they were, actually, I think we did. I think that we were working up, it wasn't 19, but we were working up at Snoqualmie Pass and sleeping in Dave Hickey's fucking Ford Explorer.
That was 21, because I was living with, I was 21 living with you.
Yep.
But so I know my goals at that time were, I was still wanting to, at 19, I don't know when it changed, I think at 21 still, my goal was to go to Western and get a degree in kinesiology.
Yeah.
And
tight, dude.
It didn't change until I got denied from Western twice. And then I started going to, I went to UW-T after I graduated from TCC, because I didn't get into Western. And I think Jordan was like, just go, like, you can get into like University of Washington, Tacoma, like, I'm going to go there. You should just apply. And so I did, and I got in. And so I went for a quarter. And then I can't remember when I applied for Western again, but like, that broke me. I was so sad. Like, that was the only thing I had.
Yeah.
There wasn't any other option.
No plan B.
And I think that can go either way. Like, having a plan B is good so that you're not totally derailed. But sometimes if you don't have a plan B, you're like, for sure then going to do everything in your power to get to that plan A. So I think it just kind of depends on who you are. Maybe you don't have to have a plan B right away, and you can keep working towards that plan A as long as you want, but you just have to know that if it doesn't work out, like, pivot to a plan B instead of completely stop. But for me, not getting into Western and going to UW-T and having to pay for it myself, I was like, wait, do I really want to go to school right now? Because if I have to pay for college out of pocket, and I'm not, for something that I might not want to do in life, or I couldn't envision the rest of my life, even if I were to get a degree in kinesiology and become a physical therapist, I couldn't see the rest of my life. I wasn't like, well, what happens then? Like, is being a physical therapist even fun?
Yeah.
Like, is that really what I want to do? I want to know about the human body and how it works and all the muscles, and all I could ever think about was, like, 'cause I had some knee problems, even back then, I was always hyperextending my knee, constantly like playing soccer. And then I had my shoulder surgery after graduating. So even at that age, I was like, I want to be able to help myself and my family. And anytime they have an ache and pain, I want to be able to like help them rehab it or know how to do this or that. But as a career, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. So that's when, I started kind of looking at other things and took a break from even thinking about school and went off and became a guide and went to the outdoor industry. And when I moved to Tahoe, thought about it again because Tahoe was such a like, what's the word? Mecca for athletes that it came back. I was like, oh, I'm going to go back to school to be a physical therapist because I'm going to be a physical therapist that specifically works with skiers and snowboarders and these action sport athletes.
Love it.
But again, just kind of learning more about it, I was like, is that though like how I want to spend all my time in schooling? And like, just have your mind open to different plans and whatever. And if it's okay.
And also have backup plans. Like
because failure is another cliche.
Yeah.
We talked about this with the wrestling team on Monday, is that just failure is your biggest teacher, right? So for me, failing back to it was when I didn't get into the school that I wanted to go to, the only school I wanted to go to. I still say, like, the only place I'll go is Bellingham. Like, I still have this little dream of like, oh yeah, I'd still love to get my kinesiology degree from Western.
Yes.
I don't know why, but anyway, like I said, that was failing that, not getting there, taught me a lot more about myself and what I might want, and took me on this alternate path that could have never been guessed and ultimately landed me where I am literally right here, right now. Yeah. So it's like, just because you don't reach that goal doesn't mean that, life's over and you're never ever going to get it. Your goals can change. And when you don't reach it, that's the time to kind of sit back, look at it and reevaluate it of like, do I really want this? And then how do I change things from there? And so with your intentions or goals or resolutions or whatever for the new year, I think really, really looking at them and thinking about, what if I fail? Mm-hmm. What if I don't reach this? Is that going to be anything to me? Because when we think about the most basic resolutions, which for a lot of people is like lose 10 pounds, lose 20 pounds. All right, if you don't do that, how is your life going to change? For most people, it's not going to change at all. Yeah. Unless you're in a severe health situation that if you don't get there, then you'll be like very impacted. That's totally different. And you're more likely to reach your goal because you literally have to. Mm-hmm. But for most of these, I think when you're setting them, writing them, really, like I said, look at what happens if I don't reach this. Mm-hmm. Be realistic. Yeah. Is your life going to change? And that can just help you prioritize them and keep them in the forefront too.
And another thing to have in your mind is not a what if I fail, but more so of a when I fail, because it's fucking inevitable. It's just going to happen. Like, we fail, and that's fucking okay. It sucks in the meantime, and it sucks, but it's more of a win, not if, for me at least.
And yeah, totally. And to go with that, I think that I think adding that when is important, because I was just going to say, like, if you're sitting there thinking about what happens if I fail and it feels like soul crushing, then you're maybe like, oh, I'm not even going to set this goal because if I don't get it, I'm going to just, it's going to be really hurtful or something. Like, don't let that stop you. Don't let that fear of the failure stop you, because like Amber said, a lot of these you probably will fail at. And maybe it's not the goal itself, but maybe it's the timeline you set for it that you don't reach, or, you reach it in a different way. But don't let once you start to evaluate and see what could happen if you fail, don't let that stop you from still trying to get there, because you're going to learn a lot from trying to get there. Yep. And it doesn't feel like it. Like Amber said, in the time, in the moment, it sucks. And it does take a lot of time after to realize, like, oh, well, without that, I wouldn't be here. But again, it's all just that forward vision. And this is why me and all the coaches that we have with Truckee, I think it's a very unique set of coaches who are really invested in wrestling because of these cliche life lessons.
God, another
it's
one.
What we've learned from them, and it's what like we just preach all the time is wrestling as a sport can just build your character and mental toughness. And it is all of these things that we talk about all the time with our kids of like, if you lose, you're just back at practice again, and forward motion, like literally in the sport, you have to be moving forward. Like you're not taking a step back when you're wrestling someone, you're taking a step forward, you're shooting in on them, like forward motion always. You're never reaching back. Like there's no backwards. And so that's life, like constant forward motion. Because if you start going back, it's just not. Yeah. But I mean,
there are some
you want setbacks. Maybe things push you back, but you still go forward.
Yes.
So things might be pushing you back, but you try to keep that forward momentum.
Even if it's something like such a little setback is like a little tiny head cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
There's always something that's like resisting against us and like pushing us this way or that way. Like life is just a constant struggle. Brother.
But if you're just doing what you can, that's still forward motion.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. As far as like even keeping a positive mindset. Because I know like when I get sick, I'm like, this is it. The world is ending.
Yeah.
Like I got to start canning things because I need to start prepping for the end of the world. Like it's weird. It's weird what our brains do and just like how they develop as we get older and through adulthood. Man, it is just.
Yeah. Yeah, I did yoga this morning.
Good job.
I've just been trying to do more overall because I know how tight I am, and it's insane to think about in the last couple years when I've not been in a regular yoga practice or not teaching, how much tighter everything is. Like, oh my God, this is how I feel my age, because I'm like, I can't do this position, I can't do that position. Like, this sucks. Like, I want to be more limber, and so I'm just trying to overall get more in my life, and I'm doing just mostly slow flows because that's what feels best for me, because in my strength workouts or cardio or something, I'm going. So for me, yoga is a very slow movement and holding poses rather than the more dynamic like power flows or anything, because that's just giving me a workout, and I'm like, I already worked out a bunch. Like I just want the stretch here. I want to sit in this. So that's been my focus. But like yesterday I practiced with this kid just for a couple rounds of live wrestling. At the end of practice, his practice partner was not feeling good, getting lightheaded, so he had to sit out. So I jumped in with him, and first of all, I'm like 70 pounds heavier than this fucking kid, but he is strong as shit, and he's just like a little monkey on my back. Just like couldn't get him off, and he wrenched on me in my back, just like, I'm just like, it doesn't bend that way anymore, Jack. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, he grabbed my shoulder. I was like, nope, this is what, like, sorry. I literally, like, can't go full 100% live with you guys because my body's gonna break. It doesn't bend the way it used to. I was like, I'm gonna be sore as shit just from those, like, 2 minutes of, like I said, this little nothing but muscle 130 pounder like on my back, just wrenching my shoulders and arms and neck. But I feel okay. But
good.
Yeah, I was just like, God, I have to get more mobility in my life. That is lacking severely, and I think a lot of us do.
Especially at this time of year, you just want to like nuzzle in and get cozy and warm and like hunker down with a movie or a book and some fucking tea and call it a goddamn night. But
that's where the slow morning or evening movement, because when I start to feel those ways, I'm like, okay, well, slow movement, right? It doesn't always have to be full gas pedal. Like, okay, before I go to bed or right when I wake up, I'm going to go straight for a high intensity workout. It's like, no, I want to move my body, but not intensely.
Yeah. Not intensely. Especially at night.
Yeah. Exactly. Do you have any other intentions, or is your main focus for the year going to be financial? I haven't thought of mine yet. This all kind of came on a whim, so I don't have any on the top of my mind. But
yeah, I'm hoping financial, and I was hoping you would do it with me.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like quarterly goals.
I do feel like, I feel like I have been, again, a little bit better, because for me, what it's all come to, like I said, is the reactiveness, where I'm not like, oh, I'm just going to buy that.
Yeah.
Like, I really want something, because I like retail therapy is a thing. I love, and it's a terrible, the irony is, like, when I really have nothing to spend is when I really, really want something new.
Yep.
And I'm like, yes, okay, I can buy that. Especially, having access to some deals that I'm like, okay, I can justify. I'll buy that $50 pair of yoga pants or whatever. And I've, again, really tried to be not impulsive in those things either. Like, no, I don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Like, let's try to get some money rolling over each paycheck here, so that we're not in this constant paycheck to paycheck. And I do get to the point that I'm like, oh, if I want that little something, I can buy it, and it's not stressing me out.
Yeah. Also knowing like financial projections for the world economy for 2024. You know what I mean?
That's what you want to do. Yeah.
What is that going to look like?
I don't even want to think about
exactly. See, and that's also part of the thing that stops us is like that are just like so much beyond our control and like so much beyond us that it's just like there's nothing I can do here aside from the best that I can do in my own little world, and not even fucking think about all of that, because money is fucking fake. It's not even real. This thing is
just like time,
real, but it's so real, and like people struggle with it fucking daily, and like get themselves into so many pickles that they end up like committing suicide over it. Like it's not real, but it's so real.
Yeah, it's very real. It's very, very, very real.
And I'm probably only saying that it's not real because I don't have a whole lot of it right now, and this year was really hard and blah, blah,
well,
blah,
I think what you mean too is the fact that we make the value of a dollar up, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, it changes, right? So
1000% country to country.
The value of our money changes by certain things and people. And it all started from, a system of bartering, and then money happened, and gold and things like that. So it was a system that was made up, and it changes by other people's decisions and things like that. But the fact is, we need it to live.
Yeah.
And it is the cause of a lot of people's stress.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say probably like 90% or more people in this country's stress is financial situations. And again, because of what our society particular, I think, teaches us as a whole is bigger, better, buy this, lease it, finance it.
Yeah, buy someone a new car for Christmas without talking to him like a fucking psychopath.
Exactly. And even when you think about school, like higher education, going to universities and college, it's like $100,000 easy. It used to be that much for going to medical school or something. Now it seems like it's close to that amount just for a bachelor's degree, and that's insane that we're taught to go to school, and before you even get your degree in this industry or in this realm that's supposed to pay you very well, you're already like $100,000 in debt, and you don't even have a job. And you're not guaranteed a job because you're going to get into the real world. They're like, oh, you need experience. Like, oh, but it also says I need a bachelor's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you need 5 years experience too. You're like, well, how do you do that? So it's very weird that we have, we're like, here, get into debt to go get a career and spend 10 years of your life trying to get out of that debt that got you to this career. Like 10 plus years, it takes people a long, long time. It's so fucking dumb. But, anyway, I was going to say that one of my big intentions where I can wrap the financials into this is going to be just that, being less reactive. So something I have been working on already, but with 2024 can just go into it with that intention, because as we've had this conversation and putting all these things together of how they're falling under that umbrella of overall being less reactive means I'm being less impulsive on simple things like nutrition choices and bigger things that make a bigger impact on my life, like financial choices. And that can feed into relationships, friends, family, anything.
100,000,000%.
That's
Yeah,
so that's going to be my like umbrella.
Love it.
Intention, that hopefully these other things that have been goals of mine for a long time, but I haven't been able to reach them, thinking maybe that's been the key, is that I haven't unlocked the higher level of getting there, and that might be the reactiveness and impulsiveness that I have, and getting that under control.
And I will say, like, I truly have noticed a difference in you within this last year, and it's been beautiful to watch, and I'm proud of you, and I truly mean that. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, because I will forever be your greatest cheerleader. Anyone out there, if we're friends, I'm always going to be your greatest cheerleader, because it's hard.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
It's so hard. It's so hard to like unlearn these things that we accidentally picked up on the way. It's so hard to consciously keep yourself accountable, but we are doing it. Also, we're coming up on, how many years have we been doing this podcast now?
This is 2. Okay. 2 in October, so just over 2. However, that first year, I believe we only had like 2 or 3 episodes, because we did our first recording like in October, and then it was like 3 weeks later. So we only had a couple, and it still took us quite a while before we were on the weekly cadence. So this will be, we're in the 70s for episodes, because it's been a year. I'm pretty sure at least a year that we've been hitting our weekly stride. Because if we were weekly for 2 years, we'd be over 100. But like I said, we got started because we had to get started without it being perfect. And we went a month without an episode. We went 3 weeks without an episode. And now, very happy to say we have hit that stride of weekly episodes.
Woo!
And we're doing it. Yeah, we're making it happen through sicknesses or traveling and things, and trying to stay up on that. So that is another one of my intentions, is to like work-wise can keep it going on that consistent basis. And that actually, I did want to talk about, I want to do a little like special at the end of the month here of our top 10 episodes. I think it'll probably just be like a social media post. But we'll go look at what our top 10 episodes have been, and then you guys can go back and re-listen to those as well, because we have some really great ones too with guests that I feel like if you've just jumped on, that maybe if you're not digging back in the archives, that you haven't heard. So I want to get those back out there into the world, because I know when I find a podcast that I love, a lot of times, especially if it's doable, if it's like 5 years, that's kind of a lot, but I've gone back and I've listened from the beginning all the way through, because I'm like, I gotta catch up and see like who you are, what's been going on, how have things changed and stuff. So some people do that, some people don't, but that's why I want to do a little end of the year highlight of our top, and it will be of just the 2 years of our top 10 overall, not just this past year. So like I said, it can hopefully reignite some good conversations. So I'm excited to dig into those,
and a chance for even
we've got a couple more
go back and listen to our own episodes.
Exactly. And we got a couple more weeks before New Year's too to think about some intentions. So as you all listen to this, it's a good way to start thinking about those, like I said, so you can really evaluate and find out what it means to you if you don't reach it, and if you do reach it.
Yeah.
And also know that throughout the year it can change. Life can throw curveballs at you, good or bad, that will change that goal, intention, or resolution in some way. So you can come back and you can change that. You can be like, there's no fucking way I'm going to do that. So let me just change that now. Instead of like cross it off, I failed, I didn't get there. Like, nope, let's make an edit to it and see how I can work towards it better this year. So I think we talked about that in our goals episode too. Like, don't be afraid to change them.
Yeah.
We're human beings. We evolve. We change. Your goals can certainly change with you.
Always and forever.
Always and forever. And yeah, we got 2 more episodes that will drop after this. So 3 total. We'll have 3 total episodes before the new year. So maybe we'll talk a little bit more about intentions. Maybe we'll try to ask our listeners here what theirs are and share with the audience some intentions, resolutions, goals. We don't have to share your name, obviously, but if you want to share with us at all and help other people kind of dig in and find some for themselves, then let's share that. We're always open to any kind of feedback and suggestions.
Always.
And we'll have another episode too that has a live chat. We just did it this week because we didn't have this scheduled well enough in advance to open that up. But keep your eye out for that live chat and live episode so that you can hop on and just see it all and be a part of it. I think that's all I've got for now.
Yeah.
Amber, anything for you?
No, I think that's it for me, and I'm glad that everything tied into whatever the cloud.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a theme for this one, but it came with its own theme. Lots of goals and intentions again. I know, lots of cliches.
Huge since we don't have any
maybe that's what it will be titled, the New Year cliche or something.
Life is a cliche.
Yes, totally. This episode is a cliche. That will be the title.
Downloading just through the website.
Love it.
Okay.
Leave
all right, well, we'll talk
comments.
to you all
We'll
next
definitely
week.
engage back with you. And
bye.
on social media right now, we're just on Instagram. Tearing It Up Podcast is the handle. Like the post, share the post, comment on the post, whatever it is you got. Show us your love so we just stay relevant and show up in the rankings at all. So again, rate and review, please. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.